Hello, welcome back to the Chatterbox. Today we're going to talk about the sound k, which is a back sound. We make it at the back of our tongue. The back of our tongue goes up and touches the back of our throat. K. And that sound comes from K or C. But again, when we're working with kids, we don't want to say what letters we're working on. We'll do that later because we want to break their habits first. So usually a child that has trouble saying k, cookie or kitty, they're saying tootie. They're replacing it with the T sound. They're using the front of their tongue just like we do for T and S. Tootie. And we want to break that habit of using the tip of the tongue in the front and switch it to the back. So a quick trick I do with my kids in my speech room, I just put a star on a Post-it note or cut out a star and stick it up on the ceiling. So it's up there on the ceiling, and I have my kids that are working on the k sound to, after our warm up, to look up at the ceiling. And then I tell them to find that star. Do you see the star? Now look up at it. Now I want you to open your mouth and just cough lightly. And that'll get them to use that back of that tongue in their back of their mouth. And that'll make that k sound instead of t. Once they get that, practiced a few times and get it good, then I'll start putting it in a word, but I'll separate it from the word. I don't know if you remember Sesame Street, they used to do like k, at, and bring the word together. So that's what I'll do with the sound, because again, we want to think of that coughing, not the sound. As soon as we say cat, it's going to come out tat. They're going to go back to their old ways. So real quick and easy trick again, just to recap, you can do this at home. Post-it note, draw a star, you could draw a sun or a smiley face, put it up on the ceiling, have your child sit up straight, look up, find that star, and now open your mouth and cough lightly. And that's one way to tackle the k, 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 k sound. Once they get the k, then we turn on our voice. G, 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 and it turns into a G. But we'll do that in the next video, okay? One more thing I'm going to show you. So, if and only if looking up and coughing doesn't work, then I would use a tongue depressor in the speech setting, and I'm sure you don't have a tongue depressor at home. So another thing that works really well to target some sounds is a lollipop. Now again, if and only if the coughing doesn't work, this is a last resort because we don't want to encourage giving our kids too much candy or distract the child from working on their sounds, and in this case, k. So if the child can't get the cough, then in speech therapy, I would take a tongue depressor and I would actually help the child push down the front of their tongue. And you can do this with a lollipop, or sometimes I will use a lollipop in the speech setting. Usually I use dum-dums because they're real small. The lollipops that are flat might also work well because it's flatter like a tongue depressor. So we'll take the dum-dum, and if I'm doing it, I will have the tongue depressor, and I'll use the tongue depressor to help put the child's tongue down. But if I have a lollipop, I'll have the child, once they get to the point where they can self-cue, when they can do it by themselves, kind of teach themselves how to put their tongue down, then I'll let them use the lollipop. They'll take the lollipop, open their mouth, and then put the lollipop on the tip of their tongue and hold that part of their tongue down, because once we say that k sound, they're going to want to go, and they won't be able to. The lollipop's there. So they're going to try and put the lollipop on the tip of the tongue. We're not eating the lollipop, we're just using it. And if they do it right and we have a good practice session, then at the end I'll let them eat the lollipop. So it is a good incentive, a good reward for good practice, but we want to get lots of good practice in first. So again, with the lollipop, put it on the tip of the tongue, and then they're going to cough. Or they're going to try and say that k sound. And if you look, hopefully you can see it. How the back of the tongue goes up to make that contact. And that's how we say our k sound. And then we can take it a step further. At. Try again. Actually, let's try cap. Cap was a better start because cat has that t sound that they're saying, tat. So we want to avoid that sound and try cap, like a hat. Cap. App. App. Good. Now let's try and put it together. App. And leave the lollipop in a little longer. App. Cap. All right, and then they can try again without it. App, app, cap. Okay, so that's something to try at home. 2 tricks. Remember the star on the ceiling, or a sun or a smiley face on a post-it note up on the ceiling. Look up. And then the other one is probably your child's favorite, if you want to do it, is the lollipop. Have the child hold their tongue down and make that coughing nose for K. And again, I'm going to tell them to do it real sharp and strong like I did with the S sound. Make it real sharp and strong. So they can really, really make that contact, feel it differently, and that's the way they're going to start saying it in the future. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching, and now I'll leave you to Jet. Have a good chat. Bye-bye. So another visual cue, I'm going to use the word can instead of cap. It's a word kids use a lot more than cap. So we'll say k-an, 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 can, can. Can you do that? All right, have fun.